Alright y'all, I had a little bit of a problem taking this ASR cover off. I took that one screw out of the top, right there, that one screw. It's just a little 10mm, but I couldn't get this cover to come off. So I'm looking and looking and looking, finally I get up under it, and I see it has this latching type deal. It's like a lace, whatever. This has to come out. It latches up under here. So it was latched up under there, so you had to see, looking at it, you'll see a little tab sticking off the side, and that tab is what you have to push down so that you can get it to come off. Okay. Alright. And it was as obvious as just taking these two screws out of the inner fender to get it to come out. And then I had to remove this plug from that pollution unit so that it could slide away. I'm gonna leave it connected because I don't want to have to get into adjusting it. I'm gonna just leave it connected and hanging over to the side to give me more access to the pollution control stuff that I need to take off. I started trying to take off that tube from the manifold, but I think I'm going to leave it in and just take off this connection where I have my wrench, leave that sticking out, and just remove that whole assembly, and then I can heat it when it's off the car to try to take it off, inshallah. And one more thing, this clamp on these things, the way these clamps work, y'all probably know it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The way these clamps work, to get them off, you have to slide them horizontally until they are no longer engaged with the teeth, and when you slide them horizontally, then you're able to take them off, and that is how you get that clamp loose. When you put it back together, you pinch them together and they click, 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 and stay clamped on. But to unclamp them, you have to slide them horizontal or perpendicular, whatever, however you want to think about it. Slide it apart so it looks like that instead of looking like that. Okay, so I need to take that one off. I'll take off one of these, and that's how you take that clamp off. Alright y'all, like I said, I'm changing this exhaust manifold out and putting the headers on, and I'm thinking I don't want to be fooling around, you know, jacking around and stripping off, breaking off bolts in these exhaust manifold, and this exhaust manifold into the head. So what I want to do, I have a dead-on shot to get when I remove this shield right here. Inshallah, I have a dead-on shot to that exhaust bolt straight across from here with an extension. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take this inner fender out right here so that when I go straight through here, I can, you know, using a long extension in the gun, I can get at those bolts in the back. I really want to use the gun to take those bolts out so that they're, you know, lessen my chance of having them break off. Alright, so in order to take this off, alright, so in order to get this inner fender off, it's two little bolts, these two screws right here, and you should have one right there. Mine's missing, and those two screws right there, those are stars. But oh, and then those two bolts here, those two bolts are the mounting bolts for the fender. Those two keep that what's that lower skirt right there under the door, runs along the side of the car, that keeps that in place, and then yours mounts there too. Anyway, these two here, those two right there mount fuse box, some kind of fuse box to the wall of something for the batteries. But just take that off and set to the side. You should have disconnected your battery before you started all this work. Alright folks, looks like organized chaos here, just chaos, but now I have a way, if I want to get at a straight angle or at a straight line with an extension over there to those rear bolts. Also, I didn't tell y'all this is what I've been doing, but every time I get an assembly off, I have me some snack bags, and I put all the screws in that snack bag, and I get a strip of paper. This one says driver side inner fender. So when I go to pick this up, when I'm putting the thing back together, everything I need to put on that inner fender is right here in a little plastic bag. I keep a little pile of plastic bags on top of the car with different things in it. Keep all your plastic bags in one spot just so you can go back and find them easily when you're putting everything back together. I had to disconnect the vacuum hose right here, whatever this pollution control piece is called, and leave it off to the side. It goes back to the intake manifold. Hold on, let me get my light. That tube right there had a connector that goes to that. So before you pull that off and set it to the side, I put that in my little plastic bag for the ASR mount stuff. Alright, I have removed the coolant hoses that were running to the water pump and to the bottom of the throttle body going to the radiator. I removed those because I'm trying to change the spark plug wires, and there's just, I tried to go through the bottom to reach these spark plug wires at that opti spark, and I just couldn't do it. I have already, when I bought the car, like I said, I paid $2,500 for the car, and when I bought it, it had a coolant leak. It was leaking between this water pump and the block. So what I did, I took the water pump off, put a new gasket on, and solved the problem. And the intake was leaking, so I put a new intake manifold gasket on. And anyway, I solved the oil leak problem and the water leak problem. But while I was there, I was like, oh wow, there's the opti. And you know, if I ever had to replace the opti, you know, at least I know where it is. I know how to get to it. But now, so I also know that I can remove the water pump and get to the opti spark, but that's just too much work. Getting that gasket back on there was a bath. So what I'm going to do is remove the idler pulley right there. There is a, looks like one bolt is holding it on, and I went ahead and put my socket on it. Said I'd show you guys before I tried to pull it off. Hopefully that is the only thing holding this tensioner, belt tensioner on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this belt tensioner with that socket right there. It's a 14. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off, and hopefully when that bolt comes out, that thing comes off. I put a mark on it too, just so I could make sure when I put it back together I was putting it back like it was. Alright, I went to remove that tensioner, and as soon as I put my socket on there, I had the socket on already. I put the ratchet on and it hit the power steering pulley, so I went to get the smallest extension I had, which was this one, and when I put the extension on it, I hit the AC hose coming to the compressor. So I'm gonna take this screw out here and then move the hose out, just push the hose out to the side, and hopefully that'll be fine. Alright y'all, I was trying to get the number 5 plug wire on, and after I removed the idler, I pulled the spark plug wires, the boots off the spark plugs, and got them over here. And then I was like, man, shoot, that AC compressor, I took the AC compressor off. It's 4 bolts to do it. The only thing holding it on is that bolt, that bolt, that bolt, and that bolt. And I'm glad I did it, because this shield right here, these 2 bolts, this one and this one, holding this shield on, I'm gonna need it off so that I can get the exhaust manifold bolts off that are up under it. So it was a good thing I did it. Alright y'all, also I put the first one on. I don't know if you can see it here, but there you go. I put a number 5 on it so I know which spark plug wire it is, because I'm gonna let it hang. And I found that to pull since I'm throwing away the plug wires, I pulled the old plug wire off, used the wire and just yanked it off of the opti. Alright y'all, in order to get to the bolt for the exhaust manifold by number 1 cylinder, you have to take those two off. Okay, it's the little shield, it's the spark plug loom. I just finished changing the spark plug wires out, and now I'm going to take those two. It has the loom on it, and then I should be able to get at those exhaust manifold bolts. Alright guys, spark plugs at this point on this side are no problem because, you know, everything is open. The side of the engine is open. But oh my gosh, you are gonna bust so many knuckles every time I've only pulled off 2 of the spark plug wires from the block. Every time I pull, and every single one of the ones I pulled off of the opti, I busted my knuckles. Every single one. Ridiculous. So you're gonna bust some knuckles on spark plug wires. Shucks. Actually, before I move to the other side, I'm gonna go ahead and start run the spark plug wires, number 4, number 6, number 8, and number 2. So the one up top is number 4, then number 6, then number 8, and then number 2. I'm gonna go ahead and put those spark plug wires onto the opti and just let them hang loose, and then move to the other side.